But as a point of review for some of you that weren't here, you can choose to think in ways that will support you in your happiness and in your pursuit of life and success, instead of thinking ways that won't. I'll say it again. You can choose to think in ways that will support you and your happiness or your success or your pursuit in the things of life, or instead you can choose to think in ways that won't support that. You understand that statement? And I use these three, and there's not three up there, and make sure I get it right. And this one here starts off with a simple word of be. This one starts off with a simple word of have. Have you hear that? They both have do in the middle, right? And then who can remember the other one? Okay, have. All right, so you, yeah. And then you have kind of reverse almost, and it is, in this group. And then right here in the middle, when we got to it, we talked about what we call middle class, okay? And this is talking about class of people. I wish it wasn't that way, but it is. Like in India, you have a real class system. And we've never had that. But when I use the word rich and poor, I'm not talking economics alone. I'm talking about the position of your attitude and the way you approach things and see things, just like if it was Republican and Democrat. And I don't mean to put them in that order, Republican, Democrat. But it's about an order of thinking. It's about how you think more than it is about money, okay? It is money. It will be about some money, but it's more about how you think. And we talked about the rich, the people that think that way, they be, do, and have. And they think about being something. They think about being successful. They think about being prosperous, or they think about being the head, not the tail. They think about the good thing that they're going to do and be in life. And then they go into the action part of it, the verb, and they go and do what they already be. How many of you understand when you already think about yourself in that positive way, then you can go out and do what it is you believe that you are. But, and then the last thing is that you get what you already are. As you are, as a man thinketh in his mind, so is he. As he thinks in his heart, so is he. So being is a set frame of mind. I'm going to be successful. I'm going to be overcomer. Baseball player says, I'm going to be the champion. I'm going to hit the home run. Football player, I'm going to make the touchdown. A B is the attitude. I'm going to be successful. You get that? And so then the second thing is, now I got to do what I believe I'm going to be, and then I'll have. But the world flips it around. Poor people have to have before they do to make them assured that they're going to be what they want to be. So it's a reversal. In other words, to the poor of mind, how many of you know poor is that person who always has a doubt about everything, can't do anything, always a negative, negative, negative. Well, they have to wait. That's what they're doing right now. They're waiting for somebody to give them something. Give me a break in life. Give me something else. Do something for me. You owe me something. And they always have to have before they can ever do. And because they never have, they never do. And because they never have, nor do they ever do, they never become what they wanted to be. Is that too confusing? Well, in the cultural mindset of that, thinking that way, we have, in our natural pecking order, we have those people who are wealthy or rich in society. Then we have what's called the middle class. And then we have the poor, those that we have always with us. But this group right here has been celebrated as the big enchilada, the big deal, the great wonderful thing called the middle class. You hear all the politicians talk about we got to reach the middle class. We got to get a hold of the middle class. But stop for a minute. Stop for a minute and think about what that says. Think what it says about you. When you define something, Revelations talks about that God hates this group. You say, what? Yeah, God don't like that group. He said, I wish that you were either hot or cold. But when you're lukewarm, I'll spew you out of my mouth. That means my word will declare you are nothing. My word will come out of my mouth, God's mouth, and it will cause you to be nothing. And how do you know the middle class is neither a be or a have? Theirs is, I didn't fill it in the other day, now I'm going to fill it in tonight. Are you ready? Okay. See, some of you that come this Thursday and next Thursday don't come, you miss all this good stuff. All right. Here's the middle class. Theirs is do. How do you know the middle class, according to the politicians, is going to pay for all their taxes and all their bills? So they've got them thinking that all they have to do all the time is do. They never have because they got to keep doing. They never become because all they do. Now, I got to tell you this so you understand. And you might say, looking at my drawing, you probably say, I believe it. This ain't in a book. You understand? This is the Holy Ghost talking to me. And when I begin to see this and I begin to understand this principle, I've read so many different things that I begin to grab and pull and begin to say, oh, wow, this is true. This is really, really a true statement. And, when you're in the middle, you're on the fence. And how do you know all you do is you stay in a fence? And because when you sit on a fence, you get splinters in your butt. And after a while, you can't do anything. And you're always pricked. You're always bothered. Hello. So God says, rich, poor, middle class. We don't want to buy into. How many want to be poor? Let me see your hands. I'll help you. Okay, nobody. All right. Now, how many of you want to be rich? Okay, everybody. All right. Now, how do you understand where middle class is? See, they don't want you to be rich because if you get rich, you could own the company. They just want you to be middle class. So they've designed, and some of you, people from India and stuff, you understand the class systems. When you get caught in the class system, they don't let you out of it. I mean, you marry in that thing, you die in that thing. Even if you're smart, you can't get out of the class. So when they start calling the middle class the number one thing, how many of you understand that eventually they want to do away with this? And we all go, yes. Because what they're going to do is they want to pull this out and put everybody here. Because they want to be here. They want us to be here. Now, let's get spiritual with this and see that the devil's behind it. Hello? And let's look at God's perspective on this, and we'll see, how we can apply ourselves. Now, when we use the term rich, poor, middle class people, we're offering this or using this as a mentality. You get that tonight? We're not talking about money. We're talking about a mentality. Have you here? And I don't ever never have. I never told my children when they went to play sports, I said, I don't want you to be really good. I just want you to be okay. My son Matt couldn't hit a beach ball when he was a little guy. You could have thrown a giant beach ball at him and he'd struck out. And I built a whole league called CYA around him and his sister. And he'd get up to bat and this beach ball would come and because he'd step back about, 4 feet because he's afraid of the ball. And I was going, oh, Lord, help me. I'm suffering here. And somebody told me what to do, and I did it, and put a string about that far, drilled a hole in the ball, held a string, got on my knees, got in front of a backstop, and just swung the ball like that and said, hit it, son. And because he saw it attached to my hand, and he knew that ball couldn't get out of control and hit him, he started hitting the ball. And then we went to a game, and I got a bucket of balls. They weren't hard. They were sort of soft, sort of hard. And I made him stand at the dugout, and I threw the ball at him. And I bounced it, and it hit him. The first time I hit him, he cried. Ah! And I said, stop it. And he stopped. And I said, it didn't hurt you, did it? And he said, no. And so I hit him again, and I bounced it a little bit. I missed him a bunch. And then I hit him again. And I said, doesn't hurt, doesn't he? He goes, yeah. And I hit him again. Now I got him a little attitude going. We went to the game. I'll never forget it. I bought him when he was playing, and he was the worst player on the team. I got him a burger and a shake and fries after every game. And back then, we didn't give trophies away if you stunk. You had to earn the thing. But on the side, I could do whatever I needed, so I blessed the kid. So he gets up to bat, and he hits the ball. And it actually went out in the field, and he got to first base. And he got on that base, stood up looking at me, and he was off the bag, jumping up and down, and I'm going, oh, my God, he hit it. And then somebody hit him around, and he scored. He got his uniform dirty other than the butt from sitting on the bench, and he didn't want us to wash it. He was dirty on the leg. It was like his trophy. And then next thing you know, it was time cycling around. He got to bat again, and he got a triple. So he got a single and a triple and scored a run in one game. Oh, my God, I was ready to buy McDonald's and give it to him. And the great thing is that, he moved up. And I never taught my kids to get into middle class. Hello. Ain't nothing in the scriptures that tells us to be just okay. God says you're the head, not the tail, above and not below, more than a conqueror. I mean, these are terms that are used in your Bible to define who we are and who we're supposed to be like. And the culture says, no, we want you to get right in the middle and hold it. Don't want you to get too good. Don't want you to be too bad. We just want you in the middle. And how do you know that's death? Now, remember, our actions come from our feelings, which come from our thoughts. Thus, every rich action is preceded by a rich way of thinking. Okay, we're still on this being. Remember, your actions come from feelings. That's out of your soul, your mind, your will, and your emotions, which come from our thought life. How many of you know if you have a beatitude, if you had an overcomer's attitude and your thought life is that way, the chances are that you're going to be like you think. Hello? If I go around and mopey-dopey and, just complain about everything and everybody, how do you know that's what's in my thinking? But if I think I am, then I can. My dad used to teach me to hunt, and I really got good. I can shoot extremely well. And if I had gone to the military, I'd have gone in some sniper form because, I can, take a squirrel to 80 feet high, 100 feet high in a tree, and I can put the bullet right between his eyes. And so, man, I love, shooting that gun. He taught me. He spent time with me, told me how to aim, how to breathe, how to calm myself down so I could really hit the target. And if you ever shoot rabbits with a 22, you'd understand that's a very difficult thing because rabbits run like this. They jump all over the place. And you have to anticipate their jump. And it's not easy. Easy to shoot with a shotgun, And so I learned to control that, and thinking helped me. And then, of course, I lost it through all the drugs and all the craziness. And then God redeems my mind, gives me the mind of Christ, gives you the mind of Christ, so that we can think correctly. Can you hear that? And so when you get a feeling, it comes from your thoughts. If you have the right thoughts, come on up here in the rich, thus every action is preceded by a rich way of thinking. And that's all this is about. We hear the statement that we are creatures of habit. But I mentioned to you there's only two habits. Doing habit and not doing habit. There's a doing habit and a not doing habit. That's the only two habits. If you're a doing habit, you're going to create every habit. Every habit will be created out of that form or out of that process. You're going to be a doer. And if you're a do not habit, that means everything that comes your way, you say, I can't do it. I don't think we can do it. I don't think they can. No, they can't do that. We can't do that. They won't do that. No, can't do that. Everything is a can't do instead of I can do. The Bible says I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Can you hear that? Every thing you are not doing right now, you are in the habit of not doing. Now, and the only way to change not doing habits is to do them. The only way to change your not doing habit is to change it by doing. Procrastinators are the greatest enemy to themselves, where they mean to, want to, think about to, and never do, because they've got the habit of saying, can't do it right now. I got to do it later. I'll get to it. Well, I can't do it now, but I'll get around to it. I'm going to get to it. I'm going to do it. How many of you know those people, they'll be on the lowest point. They're down in the poor mentality because they have to have a kick in the butt, or they have to have a crisis or something go on in their family or their life before they ever become the doer. They have to have a problem to get them motivated. Most people are the same way with prayer. Most people have no prayer life, and the only time they have it is when they have a crisis. Crisis prayer is what's filling the church right now. Instead of anticipated prayer, of anticipating the potential or anticipating the possibility, your prayer is in the future. Your prayer is declaring the future and the present. You're not praying about what happened. How many of you know what happened is already over in 5 minutes? So you're praying an old prayer. If all you're praying is what happened and your circumstance, you're in a dead zone and you're praying old things. Come on. Now, rich people thinking, I gave you some points, and that's what I'm going to do real quick right here, and then I'm going to take you to some more of those. And those of you that were here, you remember that. Number one, we talked about, I'm just going to give you the title and a little description, and we're going to go on. I gave you some rich people, poor people thinking, because I didn't give you any middle class because I wanted to wait till I could give you the do. I didn't give you any of that. I just left it alone. So tonight what I'm going to do is give you these two again, and the middle class, you're already said I don't want to be that. Hello? Because if you're in middle class, that means you're in church and you're here, but you're just like a statue. You're not moved by God, and you're not moved by the devil. After a while, the devil doesn't want you, neither does God need you. Oh. You can just write that down and say, that was pretty good. And I need the tape because I won't remember it. You got to get that in your head, is that when you get in that middle ground, see, the devil, he don't want you. And God can't use you. So you're frozen in that point, in that place. You have to, listen, a young man came to me years ago, and his parents had raised him. He was a Christian kid in a Christian school with a Christian youth group with a Christian t-shirt. I mean, he was Christianized. Hello? But he had no relationship with God. So he came to see me. His parents were frustrated. He was frustrated. So I said, here, I got a solution. I want you to go out, and I want you to backslide, because you're not really saved. So I want you to go out and backslide. I mean, raise hell. Go out there, get drunk. And he just went, huh? I said, I want you to do that. And then this was like on a Tuesday or something. I said, get it really going. Get on with it. Do it really with everything that's in you. Because then you'll come back and you'll know that you're a sinner that comes to an altar, and now you know you need to be saved. Because you've been listening to your parents tell you for the last 20 years, you're saved. And if I put you under a gun, said when, you can't tell me when. And anybody who has children and you force your kid to know Jesus because you did, you've done your kid a misjustice. Your kid better know Jesus, because if you drop dead, they better know how to find God. Don't ever tell your kid they're saved. Because they'll grow up thinking they're saved, and one day, when mommy and daddy ain't around, they'll go, you know what? I don't know if I am. And then when somebody in college says, you know, Buddha's a choice. You could choose Muhammad. You could choose anything. They don't know not to choose that because they don't even know. I never met God. That's why I thank God so much that I never had to be delivered from religion. I never had to get delivered from religion of church. Amen. I got saved, came in a lit up church, and it was the kingdom of God message, and I didn't have to go back and try to figure out anything. Because if anybody says, you saved? Yeah, I'm saved. Because, you know, I knew. Come on, you listening? Number one, rich people believe I create my life. Poor people believe life happens to me. See, when you have a poor man's mentality, it's always something happened to you. So you got to get on welfare or you got to get some kind of subsidy because something in life happened to you. That's such a lie. Hello? I've been to Haiti more times than I can count. I sent a family there. They've done one of the greatest ministries ever done in Haiti. In 1983, I sent them there. And they were out of Boston. The whole family went. And I went up there, laid hands on them, and sent them to Haiti. They got a boat. They started fishing. And they took a piece of the island out of Port-au-Prince, and they took a place where poverty, number one poorest place in the northern hemisphere. And that part of the island has so changed since they've been there. They have a college. They have a vocational school. They have a nursing school. They have 42 or 43 churches. They have, I don't know how many schools, academic schools, K through 12th grade. And they have just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of families that now are flourishing and have built their homes and things. They didn't have water. They used the ditch. They didn't have real water. And George went out one day, the pastor, and he was standing out there and he was walking around just crying out to the Lord. And the Lord said, stop right here. And he said, under your feet is water. And he looked down, there was nothing there but dirt. And he said, the Lord told him, said, there's water down there. So he crawled across, he made a mark, crawled across, he didn't want to forget where it was, got 2 coconuts and set them down, ran back to the house, got Jeannie. They called, we got a hold of Pat Robinson. Pat Robinson sent a drilling machine right where those 2 coconuts were, and they drilled down and found 6-inch pipe of fresh water, the only place in Haiti. Fresh water came out. Haiti doesn't have fresh water. They use rainwater. And so here was this fresh water. Well, so in months, all the villages, he got pipes, PVC pipes, and he ran it to all these little villages. Instead of them drinking out of the ditches and washing their dishes in the ditches and their kids were sick all the time, all of a sudden they had water, fresh water. And their part of the island came up, started turning green. When you fly over Haiti, there's a line just as straight as an arrow. Haiti's over here, and then Dominican Republic's over here. Dominican Republic is full of sugar cane and beautiful landscape. Oh my gosh, it's gorgeous. Haiti is brown because it's been cursed. All the witch doctors went in there, and they cursed the land. And I know one of the Nigerian pastors who went in there and called all the witchcraft guys out, called all the witch doctors out. Called a meeting and said, y'all come tonight. And he dealt with them. And but this part of the island flourished during the time when they had the earthquake, just not long ago. The military, because the seaport of Port-au-Prince was destroyed and all the cranes fell into the seaport so they couldn't get the ships in there. The only other seaport is where my friends are. And they let the United States military come in with landing craft and begin to set up their headquarters. And because of that, the military rebuilt all of their buildings that got damaged, put all the helicopters, the Black Hawks, and put them in there with all the supplies. Everything to supply the whole island of Haiti went out of that spot because God favored it. They went somewhere where everybody said it can't, you won't, it doesn't. They set up a fishing industry. You couldn't catch fish there, they said. And everything they said, these guys went in with a different attitude. They were rich in the inheritance of God and his provision. They could call on God and water was in the ground. Do you understand what I'm telling you? And so when you hear this, rich people believe, I create my own life, or I create life. That's not an anti-God statement. God saves you, but he lets you create your life. Every day you should say, Lord, guide me, direct me. You should say, Lord, show me the right way. You should be in contact with God every single day. But if you sit down on a rock and say, God bless the field, nothing's going to grow. But the guy over here that's planting seed and praying the same prayer, he's going to get a harvest. Amen. So rich people believe I create my life. Poor people believe life just happens to me. I'm just poor. I'm just some ethnic group. I'm just something else. My parents weren't very smart, so I'm just. Shut up. You're not. You're born again. You're a new creature in Christ Jesus. Old things pass away. Behold, all things become new. You have the mind of Christ. You want to stay dumb? Stay dumb. But you don't have to. You can be rich. You don't have to stay poor. Now, when you have that poor mentality, you blame everything, you justify everything, and you complain about all things. Number two, rich people handle money to win or increase. Poor people handle money not to lose. You remember the guy that he buried, I preached about it Sunday? Remember, you had three guys, the 5,000 guy, the 2,000 guy, and the 1,000 guy. The 5,000 guy, he invested his, he got back 5,000 more. The 2,000 invested his, he got 2,000 more. The 1,000 guy buried it. You know the story. Well, that's what this is about. Poor people handle their money not to lose it. So this guy didn't want to take a chance on losing, so he never took a risk of investing. Hello? And that's why people stay poor, because they're always, how many know the Bible says what you let go of is what you gain? Amen. Poor people stay poor all the time because they hold everything they have. I got a little money, I'm just going to hold it. Well, they hold on to it, it never goes anywhere. Amen. Are you listening? Now, they're always on defense, never on offense. And rich people handle money, and they handle it to win. They handle it to increase. God gave you power to get wealth to advance the kingdom, Deuteronomy says. And we talked about middle class. We'll get past that. Now, third thing, rich people think big, poor people think small. That's not hard to figure. Rich people think big. They think larger than themselves. Here's the key now. Poor people only think about themselves. Listen, I've been in some of the poorest places in the world, but I can tell you what it was like during Hurricane Katrina when New Orleans got wiped out. And they put me in 2 days in a little helicopter, a Bell Electric helicopter. They stuck me right on top of New Orleans proper. And we had a Black Hawk helicopter from the military on top of us. And they put me in there with two other people, and they wanted me to assess what was it going to cost, what was it going to take to bring relief into that. I put trucks, my 2 trucks from this church, 2 tractor trailers, were the first 2 trucks at Perry Wharf in New Orleans before FEMA or anybody ever got there. My trucks were parked there while the storm had just finished. The flooding on the 9th Ward had not happened. Remember, the 9th Ward flooding didn't happen until after the storm left. That's when the levees broke. And I had 2 trucks sitting there full of food, water, everything. Flashlights ready to go. How many of you know that's where the church ought to be? We ought to be in front of it, not behind it. We're the head, not the tail. And we assessed it. We put $1.2 billion into New Orleans. We did. Right here at this church, from all the groups that I work with around the country, we collected and put in there $1.2 billion. Are you hearing me? And it's because we had a different mindset. In Haiti, when the earthquake happened, I have a friend. He's a funny guy. I met him out in California at a real amazing meeting. And it was just about 7 of us that came in a room in a hotel. And we stayed all day long. And we just stayed there talking. And he owned one of the largest restaurants in Los Angeles. And he owned a polo club. You know what I'm talking about? They ride the horses, and they have the hockey stick, you know, and they hit the ball. Okay, well, he owned that. He owned a restaurant, and he was very, very successful. In that process, God spoke to him and said, there's coming days ahead that are going to be tragic. Sell your restaurant, sell your polo shop, and buy ships. He went to Seattle and bought his first ship. I'm not talking about a boat now. I'm talking about ships. Okay? And he bought 3 of them. He bought a chicken ship out of Japan that was full of chickens. You can't imagine what that smelled like or what it looked like. Chickens in these crates. Just chickens by the hundreds and by the thousands and tens of thousands. When it went down the ocean, cluck, 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 you hear them just jabbering. Then he bought another ship. Well, in that storm, he was able to fill the belly of the first ship with rice and get it in there to our seaport. Couldn't get it in the Port-au-Prince, but he got it into our seaport. And that was the first rice that went in there. And I'm talking tons. I'm talking 200 tons of rice. And that's because God said, you got to be. He bought ships before the flood came because he already thought he was. Do you understand? I had food at the wharf there. It's on the Mississippi side. You can see New Orleans right here. And it was sitting there. A matter of fact, Jean, she in here? Jean. Fred and Jean. It was Fred's brother. Was one of our drivers. What was his name? Greg. He was driving one of the trucks. And he was sitting there waiting for the storm. He said the truck was bouncing all night long. He was a little bit worried that he was going to get blown away. But see, I knew that we needed to get there. So I had him leave 2 days. The storm had not hit yet. It was still a Category 5 coming in. And God spoke to me, load them up now and send them down there. Are you listening to me? See, people that have this thinking, they're always ahead of the game. Hurricane Sandy hit New York. We put 15 tractor trailers there in 10 days. We have pictures, videos of them unloading it, and the mayor at that time is out there. He's doing a press conference saying, these are our trucks that we got here with FEMA. And my guy, the Italian guy that runs the place, and he was running the backhoe. He's an ex-drug addict. We've known him for many years. His son's a lawyer and the whole thing. And he came up to him right on TV and said, excuse me, this is not from FEMA. This is from a little church in Baltimore, and they just are helping us. And the mayor just went, oh, sorry. And that was on live TV. And we put those trucks there 5 days before FEMA ever got there. Are you listening to me? I'm giving you an example of what rich people think different. Can you hear that? They think big, and poor people think small. See, poor people think, how am I going to eat? But rich in mind people think, how can we feed everybody? Number 4, rich people focus on opportunities. Poor people focus on obstacles. And I only gave about 15 minutes of dialogue on that, but I could have stayed there the whole night. Rich people focus on opportunities. Poor people, it's always, the glass half empty, half full. Poor people always focus on the obstacles. I had somebody with me recently, and they told me what their problem was, and I immediately knew I could make some phone calls, and I got solutions. I could have solved their entire problem in their life with a few phone calls, and everything that I said, and every time I said, we can do this, we'll do this, I'll get you a job, we can do this, we'll do, they, but we can't because, what can't because, because, and we can't. Everything was an obstacle. I said, time out, I'm done. I said, you go, when you get tired of all of your obstacles, you come back, I have solutions. I'm not going to waste time with people. Hello? When I'm trying to help somebody and I'm willing to do all that I need to do to help them, and they're standing there telling me why I can't do it, I gotta find somebody else. Because it's a rich mind thinking says, come on, says that, oh yeah, we can fix this. We think big, we can handle this. But poor people think, there's not a way. How can it ever change? How can it ever happen? I'm stuck in this. It's always going to be this way. Hello? Number 5, rich people associate with positive, successful people, and poor people associate with negative, unsuccessful people. I can tell who you are by who you hang out with. You know that's biblical. And if you hang out with losers, you're a loser. If you hang out with murmurers, you're under God's judgment. There's 7 things God hates. 4 of the 7 are people that murmur. So if you hang out with people that are gossiping and are murmuring, you need to look right at them and say, will you stay right here? Just stay right here. And then run. And as you're running, just yell, I'm running because if the lightning hits you, I don't want it to hit me. Hello? Man, you got to learn this. When I got saved, I had all my friends. Hippies were being saved. We had one of the fastest growing churches in America. We were on the cover of Life magazine, and the church was just exploding. I was baptizing people in the Atlantic Ocean on Saturday. 10, 20, 30, 50 kids at a time. We're getting baptized on a Saturday in the Atlantic Ocean, coming up speaking in tongues. Man, we were having revival. And another church like ours was on the West Coast, Chuck Smith. And he was baptizing kids, and some of the great preachers, Frank DiMaggio, was baptized in a fish pond. God was moving. And the attitude was, man, we're going to see this nation change. We're going to see some things happen. But here's what I did. See, I had the goatee and the long hair and all the stuff. And I was sitting there in the section that was intimidating. The girls had hair under their arms and long hair on their legs. And, you know, the guys were just weird looking and came in with bib overalls on with no t-shirt on and hairy chest and we were all mean and we were all crazy and but we wanted God. And we didn't have anything, yet we had money. We all had money. Shoot, I used to have $100,000 under my couch all the time. So when I wanted to go out, I'd just go out and have a party because it was dope money. I was a dope, so it was dope money. Dopey people. Brother John said, I want to get pledges here today. How many of you make a pledge? All of us hippies said, we'll pledge. Some of his elders got up and said, Brother John, you need to rebuke that. And Brother John said, no, you sit down. He said, I found out these kids got the money. He said, when you got some, come see me. And then somebody told him our money was dirty. He got up and said, listen, he said, I ain't ever seen any clean money. This money's filthy. Because we were changing, and here's what we did. I went to some men. They were very, very successful. They had their act together. And I hooked up with them. And I got connected to them. Because I didn't like poverty. I didn't want to be poor. I wasn't a poor hippie. I wasn't a poor drug addict. I didn't like poor. So I hung out with people that were doing something. And those people mentored me, taught me about finances, taught me about business. They taught me about all kinds of things. And I hung out with winners instead of hanging out with the losers. And then my little posse that I hung out with, they eventually stayed home from going to church, backslid, lost their marriages, and lost their children, and ended up, some of them are dead, ended up a mess. I had to go find one of them a few years ago, living in the Caribbean, wanted for $350,000 on his head. I have to go find him. He's drunk. He falls asleep in his food. I shook his life and ministered to him and drove him around the day, Corley and I did, till he got sober enough to remember I was there. And I saw him lay hands on people, and they got healed. I heard him prophesy. If If you look at the book that was written with all of us in it for Washington for Jesus, he's standing right beside me. He put that whole thing together. And here he is, a drunk, wasted, had cancer of the mouth, cancer of the kidney, cancer everything, wife gone. A mess. I went and got him. His brother called me after we left and said, "You must have shook my brother. You scared the hell out of him. He hadn't had anything to drink since." He stopped drinking. Because I went and got positive people. These guys went and got the gang, the crew. See, losers don't want to hang out with winners. Because if you do, they make you look bad. And church people inevitably will go find somebody that ain't making it. That helps them not feel so bad. Reverse that. Go hang out with the sharpest person you can find. Let them sharpen your axe. Let them motivate you. Let them kick you in and move you. If you got somebody that's going, "I don't know, man. I don't know. You know, how you doing, man? I'm just hanging out, man. How you doing?" Say, "Thank you. God bless you." Be nice to them. Get away. No, you think I'm kidding. You think I'm kidding. I didn't come out of that hellhole drug world to hang out with losers. Number 6, rich people choose to get paid on results. Poor people choose to get paid based on their time spent. Amen. Rich people choose to get paid on the results. They sign contracts and say, pay me if I perform. Poor people, they're doing it because they're watching the clock. I got to get paid. I did my 40 hours. They didn't tell you about, sleeping in the back room and the time they left a little early when nobody was looking. Hello. Are you listening tonight? Rich people choose to get paid on results. And poor people choose to get paid based on time. Number 6, rich people, manage their money well. Poor people mismanage their money well. Hello. I'm going to tell you another one in a few minutes. You're going to see it's a parallel to this. But you got to hear this. Rich people manage their money well. And I watch Christmas time. People ain't got no money. They're out there buying what they can't pay for, giving it to people that don't like them. I'm telling it. They're going home to family that don't like them. All through the year, they talked about, my cousin, my uncle, they don't like me too much. They're going to buy them a gift. Hello? We go spend what we can't afford to have because we want to be like the Joneses. I don't know who the Joneses are. I don't want to be like them. The Bible says compare yourself not to one another. I compare myself to the Word, not to somebody else. I wanted a Porsche years ago. I've told the story. So I went and bought it, but I paid cash for it. Well, you could have given it to the missionary. I have done that. But I wanted the Porsche. Hello. And the truth be known, that missionary would want one too. Hello. But see, you got to understand the mindset. We go out and we don't know how to manage our money. We can't manage our closet. We don't manage our car. Those survival kits that you women carry around. Called purses. My wife's got one day at a restaurant, she's got a knife in there, and she had a lime in there. And the girl, she came back about 5 times. She said, I don't know I've never met anybody that came to a restaurant with a lime and a knife. And I said, sweetheart, you have no idea what's in there. No. You need to build something? We can build it right here. Somebody gets sick, there's something in there. I'm telling you, we can make it work. I live like Godiver. No, what's his name? MacGyver. Godiver, that's chocolate. So I'm a black MacGyver. That's what it is. I was trying to put it together. Rich people manage their money well. Poor people mismanage theirs. They buy what they can't afford, and they're always holding on to every penny. And they come to church and they won't give. Because they say, well, I don't have enough. Dummy, that's when you should give it all. My wife will tell you, thank God for her. I've emptied my checkbook many times. Emptied it with no plan and no figure out, except I knew my God would supply. Amen. And today, the Lord's been good to me. Do you understand? But when you got a poor mentality, I got to hold it, I can't spend it. Give your last dollar and check it out. He said, prove me. If he's not God, let's go fishing. Hello? See, rich people give. They sow. They understand the principle. Number 7, rich people constantly learn and grow. And poor people think they already know. Woo! Rich people constantly learn and grow, and poor people think they already know. They already know it. I know that. Yeah, I know that. I know it. You can't tell me nothing. Some of the most hard-headed people in the world are poor people. It's a mechanism. It's a self-defense mechanism. They don't want to appear dumb. You know, the smartest people on the earth are people who ask questions. Yet our colleges and our high schools are full of kids that won't ask a single question because they want to stay dumb. They don't want to look uncool. Man, raise your hand and say, I don't know. As a new Christian for me, I was every day going, what does that mean? I don't know. How do you do that? What does that mean? I ain't never seen that. What does that mean? Show me in the Bible. Tell me where it's at. That's why I was so glad I didn't get saved in religion. Because religion would have told me I already knew it. You knew it. No, I don't. I don't have a clue. And poor people think they already know, but rich people constantly learn to grow. I say it all the time. If you're having a marriage problem, how many books have you read on marriage? If you're having a financial problem, how many books you read on finances this year? If you're having a problem in your life, what have you read and what have you studied to change it? See, what we've done is we've done a bad thing. We ought to take the pulpit and throw it away and put a big fluffy couch up there. Because that's really all we want. We want somebody that'll just tell us what we want to hear and tell us how to fix everything so we don't have to do anything on our own to change anything. Amen. You want to change? Read about it. I took a yacht in the Caribbean. Massive yacht. You're glad I did, didn't you? He went with me, him and his wife. And you ain't a yacht person. And neither was the rest of that crew. The whole crew was like Gilligan's Island. It was really. And Charles Green went with me and his wife. Charles Green didn't know a boat from an airplane. And I had to take a little dinghy and go to the beach and pick them up. And I go to pick them up, right? They're on the Caribbean. We're going on a cruise, a yacht, a big yacht. It had 4 berths in it with beds and showers on each corner, a giant galley living room with TV, a freezer that we ordered and put all the food in there. There were steaks and chickens and everything in there. We were ready to cruise. Had a grill hanging on the back, had all that. I mean, we were ready to roll. We had all the snorkeling gear. And I go out in the boat I had to put offshore because it was too big, so I had it moored out there, and I got the little dinghy. You know what a dinghy is? That's a little rubber raft. And I go out there, and I'm going to pick up these Gilligan and them. and Mary Jane. And so I go up. They got the beach covered with suitcases. Suitcases, not the little ones. I mean, I had to go back. The boat was just above the water. And I ain't got nobody. I had to leave them on the beach. All I got is suitcases. Where are you going? What are you going to be doing? The fools, when they got in the boat and the rest of the week, they used 3 things. They changed the shorts once and the tops probably twice. That's all. And they had dresses, and they had, I'm going, oh God, thank God it was a big boat. It had been sinking. But before I went, my wife will tell you, I studied for over 2 months. I knew every seaport, because we had to go to customs. We had to go to the British-owned Isles and some in Tortola and places, and I had to know how to go through customs. I had to know the docking process. I had to know what I could park offshore. I had to know the bottom. I had to know what my anchor could hold to. I had to know the tides. I had to know when the tides were severe and when they were less. I had to know what the weather was for 30 days. I had to know the 2 Volvo diesel engines, how I could change the oil, how I could fix a belt in them, how I could take care of them. I had to know this, and I read for 2 solid months and some time so that I could take my wife, number 1, and these guys, number 2, 3, and 4, that didn't know how to even hardly swim, and I had to take them with me, and I had to make sure that we were safe.
We had a great time.
We had a great time. And rich people constantly learn, and they grow. My wife knows what a mooring ball is. And she knows to see what happens if the anchor doesn't secure.
I do indeed.
Diving off the bow, her and Mel.
I had Mel help me.
2 of them diving down. You can see them. They're swimming down. Bye. You can see about 35, 40 feet. They're diving down just to see if the anchor was holding. They ain't never done that before. I wanted to take Mary Jane swimming, teach her how to swim underwater and all that. So I said, all right, come on. It's so pretty. And I said, let's go. And you just follow me. And I'd already been out there for an hour. I said, ready? 1, 2. When I went like this, a big shark went right underneath of me. If I had jumped, I'd have landed on the back of the shark. Is that true? And Mary Jane said, no, I'm done for today. She read somewhere where sharks like white meat. Here's what Ben Franklin said to a question he was asked. Poor people claim they can't afford to get educated due to the lack of time and money. Franklin answered and said, if you think education is expensive, try ignorance. Okay, let's go. Ready? I got to take you a little further tonight, you all right? All right, rich people are committed to being rich. This is number 8. Rich people are committed to being rich. Poor people want to be rich. I'm not talking about money, though. I want you to really get that. I'm talking about a way of thinking, a mindset. Come on now. Come with me tonight. We're going to be a few more minutes and we're done. Rich people are committed to being rich. Remember, B is up front, isn't it? Poor people always want to be rich. You know, you can want a lot of things. You can want my kids at Christmas time, my grandkids. Oh, I want. Oh, my God. I got 5 boys and 1 girl. She was born on my birthday. She was actually born when I was in the yacht. I took a satellite phone so I could, anywhere I went, I could talk to them. My son called me, Dad, you got a girl. Oh, great. On my birthday. Great. So she walks in the garage, and there's race cars and things and all kinds, and I just hand her the keys. The boys go, that is not fair. It's there all the time. Pop, can I drive your truck? Can I drive the Corvette? Can I drive the Porsche? Can I drive the... They're always asking me, can they? And I go, no. Because they're never-ending want. Now, she don't even have to ask. I just give her the key. You want that, sweetie? She looks at them like, mm-hmm. Amen. Now, you got to get this. Rich people are committed. It is meaning something. I want to tell you what it means, because it's really just not just a word. Jesus asked, here's a funny way to look at this, but Jesus asked the man at the pool at Bethesda, in John 5:6, he asked him, do you want to get well? What a weird thing. He'd been an invalid for 38 years. And Jesus walks up to him and says, do you want to get well? I mean, critics would have said, you dummy, what do you think?
Right.
But see, Jesus was really dealing in some deep stuff. And he asked the man, do you want to be well, or do you want to get well? Why? Because you know there's some people that fall in love with their infirmity. There's some people that fall in love with their poverty. And if you ask them, do you want to get rich? They'll evaluate it and say some weird things. You would think they would say, yeah, get me out, give me money. Sometimes it's like, I don't know, because I got to pay more taxes, and then I got to, be more responsible, and then and all of a sudden you're going, I can't believe they're saying that. It's like people that you say to them, do you want to get rid of that demon? And I've had people say no, because it's a familiar spirit and they've grown up with it. They like that demon. Now, Jesus asked, do you want to, and I asked the question, do you want to be rich? Well, I ran into something. This is a strange thing that I read, and you think maybe not. Maybe people don't want to be rich. Thinking. Some people have such negative thoughts about wealth and money, they'll say things like I just said, what if I made it and then I lose it, then I'll really be a failure. See, people are afraid of failing more than they're afraid of success, but they're afraid of success because of failing. I'll never know if people like me for myself or for my money. I'll be at the highest tax bracket. I'll have to give more money. A Muslim came in, got saved at our church in Virginia Beach. Eddie McClure, big guy. Oh my gosh, he had arms, neck like this, big old guy. Eddie came in walking like an ape. He came in and, Brother John, I need help. I can't make it. My wife, my kids, I just need help. He had just gotten saved. Brother John prayed for him, said, Lord, bless this man. Give him opportunities beyond his imagination. Within a few months, he's making $10,000 a week. God opened some doors that would take me too long to tell you. And this guy was just clicking. I mean, more than half a year went by. Brother John, I was always in Brother John's office, and my office was beside. We shared the same secretary, so that's how come I got in all these things. Eddie comes back, Brother John, I got a problem. I'm making so much money, I'm having to give a lot of tithe. I mean, I'm giving $4,000 a month in tithe. So Brother John never, pan-faced, he was an ex-heroin addict, so drug addict, gangs, all that. He just stood there like a statue. He said, Eddie, I feel your pain, man. Give me your hands. Bart, come here. Took some hands. Father, lift this burden off of Eddie. Take this wealth from him so he don't have the burden any longer to pay those big tithe checks. Today, Lord, take it off. And Eddie snatched his hands back and said, Brother John, what are you praying? Don't pray that way. Brother John said, uh-huh. Eddie said, I got it. Never heard from him again about it. And he became a very multimillionaire, successful person. And he loved paying tithes. It's too much work, too much responsibility to have all that money. People say stuff like that. And the reason most people don't get what they want is they don't know what they want. There's a funny word we use often, and I'm going to bring it back to rich people are committed. There's a funny word we use a lot called desire. So I looked it up. It comes from a Latin word which means to kill off any other alternative or alternate. Desire means to kill off every other thing. What is America's word for desire? I want everything. But see, the real definition for the Latin word was when you get a desire, it means you get focused and you don't want anything else but that. That's how David said it. This one thing I desire. One thing. Could you bring your life down to one thing? But then I looked up this. But the word I used here was commit. So commitment is better than desire. Commitment means to devote myself unreservedly. It means holding absolutely nothing back, giving 100% of everything you've got to achieve the success you desire. It means being willing to do whatever it takes as long as it takes. It is the warrior's ethos. It is the warrior's code. I'll be rich or I'll die trying. See, that's what commitment is. Commitment is everything. It's kind of the chicken and the pig. They're arguing. You know the story. and the chicken's complaining to the pig because the chicken had to give eggs. And the pig said, shut up. For me, it cost everything. It's the whole bacon. It's all the whole, I got to get the whole thing. Chicken just drops an egg and goes on. Some of you will get it later tonight. Some of you city people, you know, that think that your eggs are created in the back of the grocery store. The little Keebler guys are making the peanuts back there to make your peanut butter. I understand. I'm convinced the Father is always waiting for us and our commitment to take our first step first. He's waiting for you today. He's the best chess player in the world. It's always your move. Number 9, rich people are willing to promote themselves and their values. Poor people think negatively about selling and promotion. And you get religious people. You know, I learned growing up, my daddy told me, don't toot your own horn. Let me tell you something. Sometimes you're the only one with the horn. And if you don't play it, ain't nobody going to play it. But see, the scripture tells you what to do. Paul said it, let my boast be in the Lord. It's okay to boast. It's okay to promote as long as it's the Lord you're promoting and not your own fleshly achievements. But we take things from religious spirits and we hang it on people and they can't even live. We put religious restrictions on people just like the EPA puts on people, and we can't go forward. How many of you know promotion is good? And it comes from the Lord. So it comes from the Lord, and I testify of His goodness. I give glory to His provision. Come on. So we need to understand, rich people are willing to promote themselves and their values. Poor people think negatively about any of that. Here, some do that because they've had a bad experience. Someone put a hard sell on you, turned you off about it. Another area is you got rejected. You tried to push and you tried to promote things. You tried to push yourself out there and you got rejected. And we're told over and over, about all this tooting the horn thing. But the blessings come from the Lord. I had a guy on the phone today. I was talking to him. He's been a businessman all his life. And I'm having to tell him how to, I've got him hooked up with a guy named Josh McDowell. Josh is a friend. And so Josh's secretary called me this morning or texted me this morning and left me a note and said, Josh read your paper and said, wow, what's next? What do we do? And I have these two people getting hooked up. And they're going to get this business guy involved in some things that are going to help in colleges and promote the gospel. And I do stuff like that constantly. I was on the phone with Wellington Boone, and she heard me. I'm counseling him. He's trying to, what do I do next? And should I do this? And the president's people want me to go to Jerusalem. Matter of fact, thank God, today is 70 years of Jerusalem's victory, Israel's victory of becoming a nation. Thank God for that. Amen. Last night it happened on Wednesday night 70 years ago. Today is the day they took the victory. But coming up in May is going to be the first time that Jerusalem will be declared to be the capital of Israel. Thank God to our president again. Amen. And, our president, yeah. Okay. I elected a president that was commander-in-chief, not pastor-in-chief. Hello? So, some of you had a shot at one, and his court date ain't come up yet. Hello? His court date ain't yet, but it's coming. And all of his minions are going to line up. One of them's going to court right now. And there's a bunch of them coming. So I hired a I voted for a commander-in-chief. I love it. You can argue with that all the way to the courtroom. Hello? We got to get it right, saints. We can't think we've elected a saint. I don't want a preacher in the White House because I don't know what he believes. I don't want to be a Baptist. And I ain't going to be a Catholic. Amen. We had one of them presidents. I just want to be, honor and fear God, just like Cyrus did. Isaiah 45. He was a heathen king, but he scared to death of God. And he did everything to help Israel get out of trouble. I like a man when he fears God. I love it when he loves him, but if he don't love him, I like it when he fears him. Isn't that good? I mean, that's just real good. Number 10. Rich people are bigger than their problems. Poor people are smaller than their problems. Amen. Peter said, think it not strange when these fiery trials come upon you to try you. He says, because it happens to those in the world as well. Problems come. It's all about how you view them. Hello? Man, when I got a problem, I know hidden in that problem is an opportunity. When I got a problem, I know somewhere in there, if I dig hard enough, I'm going to find there's an opportunity that I couldn't see because the problem tried to hide it. Some of you see the problem and you look like a grasshopper and you're hopping across the land running away from it. Somebody comes to me and says, she'll tell you, I'm not a panicker. Never been a panicker in my life. Never. Never. I'm not a panicker. When wrecks happen, I've rescued people that were drowning. I've rescued people in boats. The boats were sinking. I've been in car wreck situations where I'm the first person on the scene and 6 kids are laying all over the street bleeding everywhere and the mother's in the windshield. Her face is caught. Her baby inside her womb is crushed. The man in the back seat's got the universal stuck through his back out of his stomach. His arm of the man driving is in the engine. I've been there at 10, 11, and 12 years old, and I'm the ones there taking my shirt, tearing it, laying it on these kids, wiping the glass off. Hell, when the police came up, the fire trucks came up, they just said, okay, son, okay, we got it. Thank you. Sit right over here. Because I'm not a panicker. Woman got in a wreck at our street. Horrible. We heard it slide. She hit a tree. I ran out of my house, went downstairs to the street, ran down there. When I got there, she's pregnant, really ready to do. And the car is all wrinkled up. And she's thrashing around, scared that her baby's gonna be lost. And I jumped in the seat, got between the steering wheel and her big belly, and hugged her. And I said, stop. And I just held her. Finally, the rescue people came, police came, and they said, hold her. Don't let go. They wanted me to hold her because she was flipping out. So I just held on to her. And as I did, they put a brace on her neck, and then they started working with her, and they calmed her down, and they laid the seat back a little, cut the whole door frame out, and then they put her on a stretcher, and they got her out. And the guy said to me, you do this for a living? I said, not exactly that, but I do grab people and hold on to them. Still listening? Now, let me give you this one. This is, rich people have their money work hard for them, Poor people work hard for their money. I've always heard, when I was a kid, I always heard, learn to work smarter than harder. Hello. Learn to work smarter than harder. And if you understand, rich people have their money work hard for them. Rich people are people who instead, remember the word? Instead of resource, they become resourceful. But poor people are just looking for the resource. And poor people work hard for their money only to hold it, save it, hold on to it. But people who are smart get their money to work for them. Rich people see every dollar as a seed. Poor people see every dollar as a meal. I'll say it again. Rich people see every dollar as a seed. Poor people see every dollar as a meal. Hello. Habakkuk says that you've eaten your own harvest. You ate the seed that was for the harvest. How many people eat their tithe? They eat their tithe instead of giving it. And wonder why they got no harvest. Hello. When you eat the seed, you're not going to multiply. Look, I could plant the seed and get 10 Big Macs. Or I could go buy the Big Mac, eat it, ain't nothing else. Wasted. Gone. You understand that? So when money's put in your hand, what do you do with it? Y'all know, I've told you the story. Peter Wagner came to me in Indonesia. Wanted to give me $100 million. Somebody had told him he wanted him to oversee $100 million, and Peter didn't know what to do with it. He wanted me to help him. I stopped him. Said, no, do not do that. Give it back. He lost $350,000 because he didn't know what to do with the money. If you don't know what to do with the money, what do you want the money for? If you don't read and know what to buy, if you don't know the stocks, if you don't know what to do with bonds, if you don't know what to invest in, why do you want money? Hello? And when you get money, what do you do with money? I buy things and turn them around. I had an accident, lost my left eye years ago, blown out of my head, color leaked down my cheek. They told me I'd be blind. So I had a patch on my eye for 6, 7, 8 months, whatever it was, and I couldn't work. They wouldn't let me work. So I went out and bought a whole bunch of Volkswagens. And I just hooked them up to my little car, dragged these old Volkswagens that wobbled. Some of them didn't have motors, some of them missing fenders. And I'd put them in the yard, and I'd go outside every morning like it was my job. And I went to work, took this Volkswagen, put these parts on, put these lights in, put this motor in, took the motor out of this one, put it in this one, fixed the motor, did all that, then got it painted, and then sold it. I was fixing them and selling it because I'm going to make some money. I buy a Volkswagen for $25 behind some gas station. Sold it for $500. Not bad. And I was doing the work, and I was getting compensation and all that still, and yet I couldn't work a job, but I was making money because I had kids and a family. I was resourceful. Hello? I have a friend, and he's a dear friend. He lived in Oklahoma for a while. I was pastoring there, and he had 2 boys that loved dirt bikes, and Oklahoma's flat as a pancake. So they had a big piece of property. They fly around these dirt bikes, and they had a blast. And this guy is a master mechanic. He could fix anything. So he had a little thing in his garage. The boys would bring their bikes in at the end of the day, all muddy. They'd wash them off, flip them upside down, and he'd readjust everything, the chains and everything, the brakes, and get it all safe for them. And he went to a flea market. He was at flea markets all the time. He went to a flea market, and he bought a box, like a cigar box size. He just bought it. It was $5. Bought it, piece of junk. Looked at it, was nothing. Threw it on the floor, put some little teeny tools. He had these little teeny tools for adjusting certain things in the carburetors. So he had these little tools there. And when he went to work on the bikes, he just kicked it to the next bike, and he'd work on the bike, and he'd kick it over to the other bike. It was just part of his little thing. One day he kicked it, but he kicked it too hard and the box flipped over. Sliding on the concrete, it had wore off the paint. Well, he noticed it was beautiful silver. Well, he picked it up, dumped the tools out. There was an emblem on it, carved in it. And he looked at it, it was Spanish. And he went, wow. So he started getting some tools and some things, and he dipped it in some stuff, and he cleaned it up. He took it to a Holiday Inn pawn sale. And he set it down, and the guy flipped it over. When the guy saw the seal, the guy said, I'll give you $5,000. Now, he paid $5,000. He was going to get $5,000. My friend said, thank you, because he knew if he was going to give $5,000, that guy was a crook anyway. He knew, long story short, it belonged to Queen Isabel, and it was worth $50,000. Come on. You understand, rich people have their money worked for them. Well, I'm talking here tonight, I earn $1,000. That's not bad. Not because the church paid me, because I got some stuff working. Number 12. I'm on 14? No, I can't be. Wow. Then change the numbers. Rich people act in spite of fear. Poor people let fear stop them from acting. I'll say it again. Rich people act in spite of fear. Poor people let fear stop them from acting. Remember the poor here, they don't ever do because they have to have before they can do. So fear stops them right here. I don't have. Amen. I don't have. So fear holds them up so they never do. Are you listening to me? Now look at this. This is important. Rich people act in spite of fear. Poor people let fear stop them. I remember years ago asking Ann Jimenez, my pastor's wife, I said, what makes a great leader? We were outside walking along. She didn't even hesitate. She said, what makes a great leader is this. I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget it. Oh, at what point will they quit? She got in the car and she drove away. Boy, I thought about that for days and days. So what makes a person great is at what level have they set the end and said, that's all I'll do, I quit here. That's the person that ends everything in their life. I have buried people, gone to the hospitals with people, and they live in the land and the sea of regret because they stopped and they didn't finish the journey. Because they came under fear and under doubt, and they never stayed steady to go through the process. Now, you hear this? At what point have you said, I quit? I hear people say, if they say that again to me, I quit. If that happens again to me, I quit. If they treat me like, I quit. You know, after a while, you create the habit of quitting. You quit about everything. You're a quitter. Oh, no, don't say that. That's not politically correct. If you're willing to do only what's easy, life will be hard. But if you're willing to do what's hard, life will become easy. Boy, I wish I could somehow sew that into your fiber. If you're willing to do, this is a quote, it's not from me. If you're willing to do only what's easy, life will be hard. But if you are willing to do what's hard, life will get easy. Take the job nobody else wants. Serve where nobody else wants. And watch. God did not give you a spirit of fear, James says. Isn't that right? God did not give you a spirit of fear and timidity, but a power of love and a self-discipline. The King James says a sound mind. Father, give us a sound mind, self-discipline. I love this. A guy, he's an author named Robert Allen. He wrote a book. And in the book he said this, No thought lives in your head rent-free. No thought lives in your head rent-free. Y'all remember that tonight. That dumb thought that came in your head and decided to be a squatter and didn't get permission and is living in your head, you need to evict them. You need to tell them to get out of your head. The Bible says bring every thought to the obedience of Christ. What that meant when he said that, it means you pay for every negative thought. You say, how do I pay for it? Well, you pay for it in energy in your life. When you have negative thoughts, you don't have that energy. You can't work hard. You can't focus. You're always worried. You're always under fear. You have no peace. You have no joy. Your health goes down. You're always late. You don't have time. And you never have any money. Stand to your feet. Was I on 14?
That was 14.
Yeah, that's what I said.
No. You lost a couple of minutes.
That's how you count.
I got one.
See, I'm multiplying. Hey, look, I'm multiplying. I was making money. I was making more increase. But you got to lose some time to make something. I love it when people want to be so, got to be number 12.
14.
I don't even know what year it is. I don't even know what age I am. Don't matter. Somebody was to tell me how old I am, I might start believing it. I might start acting like it. Have you say, Lord, thank you. Change my mind. Put your eyes right here for a minute. What class do you want to be a part of? I'm talking about citizen class. You want to be up here, don't you? All right. You don't want to be in the middle, do you? You sure don't want to be here. So if you're going to be here, what do you got to do first? Be. Okay, what are you going to be? I'm going to be successful. I'm going to be an overcomer. I'm going to be happy. I'm going to be full of joy. I'm going to be, because I was meant to be. I'm destined to be. How are you going to get there? I don't know, but I'm going to be. There's a little boy comes on TV. It's a commercial. A little black boy from Detroit. And he comes on. He's a young kid. He probably ain't 15. And he comes on and he says, well, I'm going to be one day, I'm going to go to school and I'm going to get my education. I'm going to be the mayor of Detroit. Because Detroit needs help. I'm up there, the first night I saw it, I got out of my chair and went, come on, boy. Amen. My wife will tell you, I watch TV shows and movies where there's a hero in it. I'm always looking for that. I like the Rocky movies. Because I watch Rocky, I've seen them, I'm probably on 172 times or something. I watched Braveheart. I can do it. I can act it. Really? Freedom! Why I like to live here. I like people against the odds that say I'm going to be. It don't look like it, but you just hang around. I'm going to be. Don't you think Picasso probably said, just stick around. I'm going to make what it should be. Michelangelo said, don't run away. When I finished the thing that out of that clay that he made that was David, he said, just hang on. It don't look like David now, but when I finish with it, it's going to be a David in there. He said, I know in that that lump of clay, there's a David in that clay. You need to look in the mirror and say, hey, pay attention to me. I'm talking to you. You're going to be. Hello. You let this one talk? I got to have. Don't have anything. I don't have any friends. Don't have any money. I don't have anything. If I could just get $1 million, if I could scratch that lotto and win $1 million, I'd give it all to Jesus. You're lying to your teeth. You're lying to yourself in the mirror. You would not. Then you got to be, you got to do. And if you be and do, you'll have. See, have has got to be at the end because it's the reason. And if you put have at the front, your motive is wrong. I serve the Lord to be a Christian. If I end up with blessing, that's good. But I ain't looking for that first. I'm up here first. I'm going to be the man I'm supposed to be to that woman. I'm not looking for it to come some other way. I'm going to be the father. I'm going to be the prophet, the apostle who I'm going to be that, and then I'll have everything that I need. Seek ye first the kingdom of God. Oh, and seek his righteousness. He'll have everything, everything, everything. Say, Lord, I want to be. I want to be what you made me to be, what you preordained me to be. I want to be what you called me to be. I want to be what you set in order before I was born in my mother's womb. You declared I was going to be. I'm going to be what I was meant to be. No lying spirit, no devil will rob me, keep me from being what I was meant to be. I was meant to be above and not below. I was meant to mount up with wings like an eagle and fly above all the problems. I was meant to be a man, a woman. I was meant to be a child of the King. I was meant to be a singer, a dancer. I was meant to be a servant. I was meant to be a musician. I was meant to be a business person. A business person. I was meant to be a pastor. I was meant to be an anointed elder. I was meant to be. And I will not let the devil, nor will I let a spirit of poorness rob me from everything I was meant to be. You lying devil, you lying spirit. Haiti was not meant to be poor. Haiti was meant to be blessed. Madagascar was not meant to be poor. It was meant to be blessed. Baltimore was not meant to be a drug-infested city. It's a beautiful city, a charming city. It's a wonderful place. But the church has to change its attitude. We have to change the way we act, the way we think, the way we talk. How many of you hear me? We talk like we're just dragging through life and I'm hardly making it and life is too tough. Shut up, you crybaby. Get up on your feet and tell the devil to go to hell and declare with your mouth and everything that's in you, I am the righteousness of God in Christ Jesus. I'm an overcomer. I'm more than a conqueror. When your body says it hurts, tell it to shut up. Tell it it's healed. Say, you've been healed, body. Come on, church. Come on, church. This is Rock Church. This ain't some Methodist church. This is Rock Church. This is Rock City Church. This is a church set on a hill that cannot be hid. I don't want to be with losers. I want to be with winners. You go to work, stop trying to beat the clock. Go to work and do your best. Let God take care of the rest. Go to work and just do your best job. And let God bless you. Let God give you promotion. Let God honor you. When you come to the house of God, give Him everything. Give Him your heart. Give Him your money. Give Him your life. Give Him your joy. Give Him your praise. Give Him everything. Stay poor. You'll be angry. You'll be disgruntled. You'll be bitter. You'll be all bound up in you. You'll be in love with you. One thing about it, you are not your deliverer. Jesus, we thank you tonight. We thank you for the power of your word. Shift us, Lord. Move us, Lord. I pray for every man and woman in this room that, Lord, you will begin to occupy those thoughts. They will tell those squatters that have come into their mind, get out. Get out. You're living there without paying rent. You can't be in there. You're not going to live in my mind anymore. You're not going to whisper to me and tell me I can't. You're not going to whisper to me and tell me I'm losing. You're not going to whisper to me and tell me these things. I'm not listening anymore. I want you out of my house. I want you out of my mind. I want you out tonight in Jesus' name. You fill those rooms in your mind since you evicted those ugly thoughts, those negative thoughts. Put some new tenants in there. Let the tenant of peace come and live in your mind. Let the tenant of joy come and live in your house. Let him live in your mind. Let the tenant of victory live inside of your mind. And then when you go to speak, you'll speak because you have the thought. And it'll be because you let tenants take hold of your mind and gave you good thoughts. I love what the Lord said. He said, my thoughts towards you are good. And they're good continuously. He ain't never had a bad thought about you one day. He ain't never had a bad thought about you one time. Not once. Even when you've been the ugliest you could be. Even when you've been the nastiest, meanest, snirkety, little just spoiled brat, whiny little brat. He still loves you. He loved you when you came. He loved you when you were a sinner. He loved you when you were his enemy. Now that you're his child, can he not love you even more? Wow. Wow.